Hare Krishna, everyone. Everyone who is online, welcome to this program. It's a Gita coaching program. This is the second broadcast, and last time we had an introduction to Gita coaching, and we had some nice comments and questions from the devotees who were watching. So today we will start with our presentation about Gita coaching. We will speak today about 10 qualities of a life coach. This may be a little shorter than usual, but we will cover these 10 qualities so that we can understand what qualities someone who does coaching, whether spiritual coaching or any other coaching, needs to have in order to do this service well, and in order to be helpful for his clients, or in Krishna consciousness, if you are a spiritual coach, then to be helpful for the devotees you coach. So there is 10 qualities, 10 main qualities, and I'm sorry I will be clicking a little bit here because I need sometimes things pop up like that. So first is genuine desire to help others. So every person, by contacting a coach, they actually demonstrate a need either to solve a problem or to achieve a result. So the coach must have a desire and the ability to help a devotee or a coachee succeed. If we don't develop this attitude, if you want to do coaching, then we will not provide proper service for the coachee. So genuine desire to help others. We help devotees in different areas like health, sadhana service, relationships, leadership, management, time management, many different areas. So spiritual coach finds pleasure in helping devotees succeed, because devotees are special people. Then second quality of a coach is genuine interest in others. I heard from one expert, he said that instead of trying to be interesting, try to be interested. So if you're interested in people sincerely, then they like to talk to you. They see that what they say is of interest to you. You want to know about them, about their lives, about how they are doing, and what really excites them, what are their goals. So you focus on that person, you are interested, you listen very well. We will speak about the listening skills later on. So you listen attentively with interest, you remember things, you notice things, and otherwise if you don't focus on a devotee you are serving as a coach, then you will have a tendency to compare their situation with yourself or with your situation, and do what they called homemade movie projection, that you are autobiographical response. You always compare with yourself. So focus on the devotee you are serving as a coach, allow you to empathize with him and to show genuine interest in their life. Quality number 3 is greater interest in people than in things or in money. A coach who is more interested in things or in money will be motivated by material gain. Of course, if you don't charge for your coaching, then this is out of question. But if you charge, then this may incur risk of putting your needs above the needs of the coachee, and this is unacceptable. So most of the people who do coaching, they are not motivated actually by money or by acquiring things. Their pleasure is to help other person, to help people move forward in their lives, and to help people solve their problems or achieve different results or achieve their goals. Then number 4, quality of a coach or spiritual life coach The ability to balance your own life and to put your own issues on hold. So if you have imbalance and stress in your life, then it will be difficult for you to deliver successful coaching. So your personal issues will actually draw your attention from focusing on the coach's issues. So in order to coach effectively or to serve a devotee effectively through coaching, you have to come with a clear mind. So for this 1 hour or 45 minutes, put all of your issues aside and then just focus on that devotee. So that's why it's important to prepare for a session. Take 10-15 minutes and prepare and see what you have been discussing in the past session, or if it's a first session, so what will you discuss at the first session, or maybe it was already agreed. So excuse me. Coming with a clear mind and being balanced in your own life. Of course, the things that you're coaching people about might be also your own issues, so you're also learning while you are coaching. That's a very, very great advantage of coaching. As you're coaching people, you're also coaching yourself, and you are able to learn so much. I learn so much from the devotees I coach, and I have been working on myself and on improving myself based on what I have learned from the devotees I was trying to assist. So it's a double benefit to do this kind of service. The quality number 5 is being totally committed to coach's success. I can ask you a question. Did you ever have a teacher, a leader, a friend, a coach, or an advisor who believed in you when you didn't believe in yourself, who stayed with you regardless? Not someone who was permissive with you, who would give in to you or give up on you, but someone who would stay with you and who would see you in terms of your potential, not in terms of your behavior or present results or performance. So someone who sees you like that, then this person can be totally committed to your success. One German writer said, "See the man as he is, and he will remain as he is." Or treat the man as he is, treat the man as he is, and he will remain as he is. And treat him as he can and should be, and you will help him become that ideal. So this is like when you see someone, if you see them as a spirit soul who is Satchitananda, eternal, full of bliss and knowledge, then that helps a lot. So like a child, when a child starts walking, you don't chastise the child every time the child falls, but you know the child has an inherent ability to walk. It's just a question of time and practice when my child will walk. So you have this faith, you have this vision that this child has the capacity to walk, but now it's just starting and learning and growing and getting stronger, and it will walk. The child will walk very soon. So being committed, believing that there is potential there, and that's very empowering. That's also very encouraging when people see. I have experience with so many devotees that I see that I can notice they have talents which are usually unused. They have strengths, they have skills, they have knowledge, they have previous experience. There are so many resources to draw upon, but they are not using it. So then we look into these things, and then we try to help them use these things. So being totally committed to coach's success. So we stay with them regardless. We don't give up on them. I give this example in my courses that imagine someone was away from Krishna consciousness, and then when they come, then sometimes devotees make them feel bad actually by asking them, "Oh, where have you been? Have you been in Maya? and you have come back. Did Maya kick you? This is not very nice. And sometimes people come once after a long time, and then they don't come back again, for a long time, because they were mistreated like that. But if someone comes, we should welcome them and say that, oh, wonderful that you are here, how are you doing, and how can I serve you, what can I do for you? As if the person has been coming regularly, as if the person has come yesterday. And then, start our friendship where we left off, and just continue like this, encouraging people and helping them. So therefore I speak about lifetime coaching, not life coaching, but lifetime coaching. This means that people will maybe come back and forth. They will come to you and they will leave, and they will do coaching and leave, or come to Krishna consciousness and leave. But we as servants, we are always there to serve them. Whenever they come, if they come back after 5 years, okay, I'm here to serve you. How can I help you move forward? And this is very encouraging and enlivening for people, and then they feel that I'm accepted and these people want to help me and they have my best interest at heart. So being totally committed to coaching success is a very, very important quality. Now there is other skills, and there is number 6 is excellent verbal communicator. In the Bhagavad Gita, in the purport to the 54th verse in the 2nd chapter, Srila Prabhupada says that most important is how a man in Krishna consciousness speaks, for speech is the most important quality of any man. He goes so far to say that this is the most important quality of any man, speaking. And also in the 17th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, verse 15, Krishna speaks about the austerity of speech, and we can take this as a wonderful, wonderful instructions for communication, how we communicate. Speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others, and always reciting the Vedic literature. Always reciting the Vedic literature. So we want to speak nicely. We want to speak positively. We want to speak the words that are encouraging, that are enlivening, that are enlightening. The way you speak actually influences so many things. If you speak nicely, then usually the results are very, very good and very positive. When I was in France and Italy, I was repeating many times, and I even learned in their own language how to say speak sweetly. Parlare dolcemente is in Italian, and parler gentiment is in French. And then I was repeating many times so that devotees remember this simple thing, that try to speak sweetly, don't speak harshly, because harsh speech is a child of religion according to Srimad Bhagavatam. Harsh speech is a child of religion, of irreligion according to Srimad Bhagavatam's verse. So we shouldn't speak harshly. So a coach is an excellent verbal communicator, and communication experts say that facial expression and body language is 70% of communication, and then the rest is how we say something and then what we say. So to be a life coach or to be a coach, you have to develop an ability to say what you mean and mean what you say without any ambiguity, and you must have a tenacity to repeat the point until it is understood. And it's a two-way activity. So now, of course, if you do telephone coaching, then body language is removed as a factor. But still, the way you speak, the tone of your voice is important. So clarity from your side is very important. So how do you communicate what you say? Of course, this is a two-way activity, and even more important aspect of communication is listening with understanding. But during coaching sessions, you usually allow coaches to speak 3/4 of the time, and you listen very attentively, and then 25% of the time, or 1/4 of the time, you speak. So if usually your peers, family members, colleagues understand you well while you speak, or even if you can give a speech and people listen, then you might be a good communicator. Otherwise, you have to learn and practice. Every skill can be learned. So, your coaches, they might expect you to provide excellent service, and it's very important how you speak and how clearly you actually express yourself, and how do you communicate to your coaching. And I recommend to avoid using jargon or familiar or trendy language. This can negatively affect your relationship. So we don't want over familiarity in the relationship. It's a relationship of service, and we want to keep it on a very decent level. So if you notice that your coach doesn't understand you, then repeat. Try to make it as simple as you can, clear, and in this way you will be able to assist coaches much better. Then quality number 7 is confidentiality. In the Upadeshamrita, Srila Rupa Goswami is mentioning 6 loving exchanges. Dadami, Dadati pratigrinati, Guyam akyati prichati, Bhunkte bhujayate chaiva, Shalvida pritilakshanam. 6 loving exchanges are giving gifts, receiving gifts, or giving charity, receiving charity, then confidential revealing of your mind, and confidential inquiry or listening confidentially from another devotee, and giving prasadam and receiving prasadam. Now, middle 2, confidential discussion, is what coaching is about. Just coaching is the same principle as Rupa Goswami describes. Now, the coaching techniques and the coaching system, it gives you structure, how to do it in a more structured way, how to do it, how to get more out of it, I would say. So anything can be discussed in a coaching session, but if you get an information that has to do with breaking the law or like harming oneself, then you are legally obliged to report this. But usually you don't speak to others. You remain very, very confidential, and you don't speak to others what you are discussing in a session unless you have a permission from a coachee. So it's a very, very confidential conversation. These issues that you discuss, they remain with you. And if you have notes from your session, then make sure that your computer is under password, or that your notebook is not visible, that it's in a safe place or locked, so that people cannot read these notes, especially if you put names in there. So very important to and if you're in doubt whether you should reveal something or not, then don't. You need to have a permission, or better just don't say anything, and don't mention any names, and don't speak in such a way that people can understand who is in question. You can think, how would you feel if someone would bring your confidential information? So you don't mention names, and you keep notes securely, and things like that. Like, for example, one thing that might happen is that you're saying to your coachee that, look, this is very confidential, and then you start revealing about other person, speaking about other person, and then they say, oh, but he's saying something about somebody else. Now, sometimes devotees speak like this because they want to help someone. So that's a bit different, but at the same time, or if they are both coaches, or if they are both trying to coach that person, or they are really concerned. But it's also like, it's good to develop this kind of a habit that, okay, I don't speak, this is confidential, and to practice this kind of confidentiality. And then if somebody is really interested in somebody else, they can talk to them and ask them and become interested in them, and then they will reveal to them what they want to reveal. But we should be careful, very careful what we say and how we say it. And if you need to give an example, then don't mention names, and do it in such a way that people cannot recognize who is, which person is in question. So our actions have to match our words. Quality number 8, neither judgmental nor critical. In the Nectar of Instruction, verse number 5, Srila Rupa Goswami mentions a devotee whose heart is completely devoid of the propensity to criticize others. So it's a very important principle. It's in the scriptures, and coach is more like a bee looking for honey, and he is there to help devotees succeed. So coaching is about where your coachees are and where they want to be, and how to bridge that gap. Now, their perception of their situation may be different than yours. It doesn't mean you should criticize them or think that they are wrong. As a coach, it is your service to encourage and motivate your coachee to take the action that will move them forward, that will bring about change. And to undertake this role, you must not be judgmental or critical. You should be very benevolent, very well-wishing, because these kinds of traits will actually limit your coaches and will not empower them. So it's important for you to help them evaluate the steps they are taking and the progress they are making. And people also have a lot of intelligence, and they understand so many things. Even you don't have to tell them, they can already understand what is right and what is wrong. 95% of the cases. And you also have to always respect their free will. Don't try to impose anything on them or control them. This is a different kind of service. So very important. Neither judgmental nor critical. So we are here to help devotees succeed, and they're here to choose what they want to do. But with our skills, with our goodwill, and with our well-wishing attitude, then we want to help them make the right decisions and the right choices. But they're responsible for their lives. So there is nothing to criticize. There is nothing to criticize. If they don't want to move forward, it's their responsibility. It's not yours. You're here to serve them. If they want to accept that, fine. If they don't want, then you can move on, and they can move on. Another quality is that a coach is explorer and provider of options. So together, you look with the devotee you are assisting into different possibilities, options, and different opportunities, and basically there is always many more opportunities than we see at any particular moment. I have seen this in working with devotees. And when devotees come and say, well, that's not possible because of this and this and that, I say, well, I'm not impressed if you come to me and say why something is not possible. Better come to me and tell me why something will be possible. Srila Prabhupada says in the 5th canto, in the 1st chapter, one of the purports, he says that for a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, everything is possible. So there is nothing that you cannot achieve if you properly connect with the Lord. One man said, interesting thing, there is no limit to how much you can achieve if you don't care who get the credit. This is a tough one. So as a life coach, you are a catalyst or a facilitator, and part of your role is to help your coachee think for himself and find his own solutions, sometimes with the help of others, but especially help him think for him to use his intelligence. We will be speaking later on about asking powerful questions, and I ask some of the questions that sometimes shock devotees. They say, how can I deal with this? And I said, if you would be a world expert on these kind of issues, how would you deal with this? And thinking, and then come up with something. Then I said, if you would be super intelligent, if you would be Einstein, how would you deal with this? Or if you would be a pure devotee, how would you deal with this? And then immediately if they surrender to this process, they actually get into a frame of mind that is much more advantageous for finding solutions, or for their own finding solutions, which is better than if I find solutions for them. Another part of your role may be to try to discover, through mutual discussion, variety of possible options. So all kinds of options, possibilities, opportunities discovered by the coachee, or what they got in cooperation with others, or maybe something they want to avoid. It would be very good to do, for example, in order to move forward. So you can also sometimes give recommendations, but it's better to be non-directive and help them think for themselves, because when you are not around, then they will be more equipped to deal with their own problems. They will be training their mind to think solutions and not think problems. And then when you have some options, or when you have some brainstorming, then also you help them to choose properly what's the best option. Let them choose what is the best option, and let them explain to you, in front of you, loudly or aloud, that why you think this is the best solution. As they are thinking for themselves, thinking aloud, they can also sense that actually this will work or this will not work. I got a question online that what are we discussing, from Radha Prema Bhakti. Thank you for this question. We are discussing 10 qualities of a coach, of a life coach. And of course we are doing Gita coaching or spiritual coaching, so this is professional skill of coaching applied to devotees' lives and devotees' issues. So we are on the 9th. We have covered already 8. On a night, I will repeat the qualities, but we are on the 9th, and it's explorer and provider of options. So coach is an explorer and provider of options. A coach helps you find more solutions for your problems, or for your or the results you want to achieve, more ideas also. And also sometimes he can give suggestions. You are welcome. You are welcome. So this is number 9. And ideally, you are here to help your coachees to do things themselves, and not that you do things for them. It's very gratifying to be a savior and that people depend on you, but actually the better favor that you can do for them is to help them help themselves. This is a better service. There is a story about a caterpillar who was trying to get out of the cocoon, and one boy took pity on the caterpillar and tried to actually he saw that it's struggling to get out, and then the boy actually opened the cocoon, and caterpillar could not fly for life because of the undeveloped muscles. Because there is a natural process that a caterpillar has to struggle, and different chemicals come into the wings, or into the small wings or future wings, and then this is how the proper strong wings are developed. But the devotee, due to his so-called compassion, he has actually broke a natural law, and then he did this, how you say, unfavor or disfavor to the potential butterfly. So if you just make people dependent on us, then we don't help them in the best possible way. Devotees come to me and say, I have a problem. I say, so did you think about how to solve it? They say, no, that's why I came to you. So you want me to think for you? You cannot think? They said, well, no, but I know that you help people, and I'm asking you for an idea and a solution. I said, well, you have your intelligence. Why don't you sit down now and write down 5 ideas and 5 solutions for your problem? And usually it really works. I mean, they're so happy to discover their own solutions, much happier than when I give them so many things solutions that I can give them. So we train devotees to be self-reliant. Of course, they can pray to Krishna for intelligence, but they have to learn to fly their own airplane. So these kinds of things are proving to be much more effective than just telling and just giving advice. Because actually people, most of the time, they know what to do. Also, Krishna is in their heart, and sometimes if they don't know things, there is a room for teaching and advising, and there is always room for teaching and advising. But we should also train devotees to think for themselves. First think deeply, and you come up with some ideas, and then you come to me and I can maybe give you some ideas, or we can conclude what's the best thing to do. But try to take responsibility for your life and for your decisions and for your conclusions. And finally, we have number 10. So tonight we will have more type of questions. I don't know how many devotees are there, but now we will do the 10th, which is similar to one of the previous one. This one is called Committed, and I have a wonderful quote from Srila Prabhupada. He said in a letter to Christopher, written on 13 July 1968 in Montreal, I have got always time to answer the letters of sincere souls, because my life is dedicated for their service. I will repeat. Srila Prabhupada wrote to Christopher in 68, I have got always time to answer the letters of sincere souls, because my life is dedicated for their service. So this is commitment. So one of the favorite coaching principles, or classic coaching principle, is if you continue doing what you are doing, you will continue getting what you are getting. So if you are happy with your situation, then there is nothing to change, then you don't need coaching, you don't need any kind of assistance like this, you don't need counseling, you don't need spiritual guidance. But if you want to change something, if you want to change the results, then you need to change what you do and how you think. And for this, you need somebody to be there and to, in one sense, to actually very determinedly draw your attention to your own goals and to what you said you want to achieve. And this is the commitment and I would say unbreakable determination of a coach. He will not give in to you, but he will also not give up on you. He will also not give up on you, and he will be there, but he will remind you and tell you, look, I'm here to actually help you keep your commitment to your own goals, which we agreed together, and they came from you. So you encourage that change as a coach. You are committed. You will see commitment of our coaches. So one thing that I ask devotees is to send me reports, because this shows that they are serious. And those who send me reports about their actions, about their commitment to their goals, they actually achieve better results, and they're happy. There is a devotee in one European country who is now achieving amazing results. He's sending quite regular reports for the last 3-4 years, and I gave some tips occasionally, some appreciation, encouragement, but he has become so strong that now he's really moving forward very fast, and he's happy. He's very happy. But in the beginning, they need to report to someone. Even sometimes very senior devotees, they say, "Can I report to you? Because I'm not accountable to anyone. I don't have a temple president above my head anymore. I don't want to report to my wife, because I'm reporting anyway every day. So can I report to you about my spiritual efforts, or about my preaching, or about something else, some other projects that I'm working on?" And I said, "Of course, I would read your reports very gladly." So friendly firmness, positive encouragement, then the coachee it's easier to take action. And then this commitment that I have to, accountability basically, accountability. If I need to report, so I better do something about it. If I need to report about my japa, I have a devotee from one country. I have the japa excellence table, which covers 1 month and covers how many rounds you have finished, by what time, how many rounds you have heard, then what inspires you. It's a very nice 1 page, and every month he sends me, and for the last 4 or 5 months, I think, maybe more, and you know, he has improved so much. Now he's hearing more rounds, more and more rounds. He's finishing them earlier. He's finding new inspiration in the scriptures for his chanting. It's amazing what's happening. So, but you have to be courageous, considerate and courageous to actually hold people accountable. If you are too soft, you can't hold them accountable. You can't confront them, because sometimes they react. They say, well, who are you to tell me anything? Well, I'm nobody, but I'm actually just helping you be accountable to your goals, as we agreed. So commitment, determination, persistence, this is also the quality that coach has to have. And you know, like in the sports, coaches can be very tough on the champions sometimes. But then, what is the result? Amazing, results, like top sports results, world records, and things like that. But behind this is so much hard work. And so sometimes very great pressure from a coach that if you want this result, you have to perform, you have to practice harder, you have to be more serious, you have to give up certain things like drinking alcohol or going out too much, and pay the price of success. So basically it's about self-discipline, or about discipline. There is no success without discipline. This is just the law. You can't be successful if you are not disciplined. Any successful person is disciplined. So similarly, coach is disciplined in being very committed and being very straightforward. And some coaches, actually, they don't want to work with you if you're not serious. I have my questionnaire on my website, Gita Coaching website, are you ready for coaching? And I always send this to devotees to go through these 9 questions, and if they have more than 2 no's, then we have to discuss whether they are ready to actually do this process, which can help them a lot. And sometimes we have to make some adjustments there. So you can think about these instructions and how much you are already you have these qualities. So I believe that some of these things you're already doing when working with others. And I will just give a little overview. Now is 8:40 almost, and I will just give a little overview of what we have been discussing. So first one was genuine desire to help others succeed, then genuine interest in others, a greater interest in people than in things or money, the ability to balance your own life and to put your own issues on hold. So come to the session with a clear mind, put your issues on the side in that 1 hour. Then being totally committed to coach's success, being excellent verbal communicator, say what you mean what you say, don't be judgmental, don't be critical, but be a well-wisher, be patient and respect their free will. and be explorer and provider of options, especially explorer of options, or induce them to find their own solutions, and be very, very determined and committed, and hold them accountable. Hold them accountable. So these are the 10 qualities, and of course, when we have our Gita coaching course, which we will have soon here in Alachua, at least I know that it's confirmed with the youth, group of young people, devotees, and probably also with some adults. We do exercises also, and you can assess some of your qualities. There is a questionnaire, there is some other exercises in relation to these different qualities. So it's a longer section of the course, but we have given here an overview, and we hope this was of use to you. And if you have any questions, you can ask them now online. I'll be here for the next 20 minutes. Thank you for listening. And next week we will be speaking about goals and goal setting. There is a science to goal setting. There is a lot of literature. I can also send you certain materials for free for goal setting. I will be looking into SMART goals, the importance of writing goals, and things like that. Is this a question for me? What do you think of japa journaling, or for somebody else you are chatting with? Kartika Devidasi. Oh yes, well, japa journaling is I think it's wonderful. It's a great idea. I always encourage this. Yeah, write down how is your japa, but if you have this japa table that I have, so you can keep track every day. When did you finish your rounds? How many rounds you have heard? Then what inspires you to chant? Did you chant in the morning? Did you chant in the evening? And like that, you measure. Whatever you measure, you tend to improve. So japa journaling is definitely very good, because you become more conscious of your japa. And sometimes, if you report to others about your efforts to chant better, it's also good. It inspires them. In London we had a group, like my counselees, my group of counselees. We will report to each other every single day. I can send you. I'll give you my email. Send me an email. This is my email, akrura@pamho.net. Okay, so if you send me an email and request this chart, I will send you tomorrow. And yes, and then you can see if this is useful for you, and if you have any questions how to use it. Also, on the second page of that file there is wonderful inspirational quote from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. There is more tips for japa, so there is more things there that can help you. But thank you very, very much for requesting this. So if anyone else have any other questions or comments, please, you can write. I'll be here another 15 minutes. Thank you for joining us tonight. It's my pleasure and honor to try to serve devotees here. KD is asking me to speak about responsibility. Right. Well, taking responsibility is actually essential for making progress in any area and achieving success in any area, whether spiritual or material. This is really, really essential. And I can send you, again, you have my email here. Please send me a short request. I can send you brilliant articles or links. On my blog, I have written about responsibility. There is some really good stuff. So if you send me, I will send you the link. You can read it and tell me what you think. Srila Prabhupada has encouraged taking responsibility for our movement, for our own personal sadhana, for our relationships. And what I say to devotees is take responsibility for being inspired every day. Yeah, to being inspired. Don't expect others to inspire you, but you become such an inspiring person that you will be always inspired and you will inspire others. You don't need you don't depend on others to inspire you, because there is already so much things to be inspired about. So many wonderful classes, kirtans, books, philosophy, knowledge, prasadam, that there is no reason not to be inspired. So take responsibility for being inspired, but also take responsibility for so many other aspects of our lives. Padmasta Mataji is asking, can one apply these principles to being a supervisor? Of course. Coaching skills are being taught to managers, to leaders for probably about 20 years now in the outside world. And exactly this handbook that I'm teaching you material from is being used by Anuttama Prabhu, who is teaching ISKCON leaders. This is a training for new leaders, but also any leader would benefit from. So now our leaders are learning about coaching skills. So you can definitely apply these principles and be more effective manager or supervisor. Is that okay? I hope it's okay. Okay. Anything else? What if the person, Padmahasta Mataji, sorry, I mispronounced your name, Padmahasta Mataji is asking, what if the person is not so interested in changing? Well, then it will be very difficult to coach them if they're not interested in changing. But it's good to be there for them, just in case they become interested in changing. Then you are there ready with your skills and with your enthusiasm to help them. And Maya, she works actually in the interest of any preacher or any coach. How? Because Maya will kick people, and they will suffer, and they will not be happy with their results, and they will come to you and say, so okay, tell me, what shall I do, or let's discuss. So of course ideally person would be interested, but if they're not interested, then you can't do much at the moment. But you should be ready. Be ready when they become ready, and then you are there to help them. Taking responsibility for inspiring oneself. The beginning is get up in the morning as early as you can and chant your 16 rounds in one go. This will ensure that you will be inspired at least until the noon. At least that's my experience. And then try to read Prabhupada's books and find there some philosophical inspiration and stimulation for your mind and intelligence. Listen to inspiring classes. Associate with devotees who are fired up, who are enthusiastic all the time. Like I know at least one devotee who's always smiling, who's always enthusiastic. I never saw him, being unenthusiastic. Satchidananda Swami, some of you maybe know him. He's always enthusiastic for preaching, for chanting, for helping devotees. I just uploaded on my Facebook his wonderful article about tests in Krishna consciousness, Krishna's tests. So if you're on a Facebook, you can add me as your friend, Akrura Dasa, and then you can, I'm posting there many tools and many nice things, audios, videos, classes, articles, several quotes every day, nice pictures, many inspiring things, so you can take advantage of that. I also have a blog which is called Gita Coaching, and there is many practical articles. I have hundreds of articles there. So, and also one way you can take responsibility for inspiring yourself is something that I mentioned last time in our introduction, is to develop a habit of a positive internal dialogue. How you talk to yourself. If you talk to yourself in a positive way, if you always are aware of the advantages that you have, of wonderful mercy that you have gotten in Krishna consciousness, so you will be inspired to work, to preach, to serve, and you will never be depressed or becoming hopeless. Because there is so many gifts that we have gotten, but we are not appreciating them enough. So again, it boils down to discipline. Discipline of inspiring yourself every single day. That's responsibility. Is that okay? You have any sub-questions about this? Radha Prema Bhakti, Mataji? Thank you for this question. Very nice. Okay, we have about 9 minutes left. What kind of resources are you looking for? What would you like to have? I have tons of resources and I'm willing to share them for free with all of you. How being a victim affects the helping process? Well, if a person thinks that they are a victim, the helping process is made more difficult. Reading, just a moment, Radha Prema Bhakti Mataji is asking about the reading material. Reading material, what kind of reading material? About what? Reading material about what? Then I will answer KD's question about being a victim. I'm just waiting for Radha Prema Bhakti to clarify her question. Okay, well I can. But please, can you send me an email? My email is up there, akrura@pamho.net, up in the chat. I can even see it on this screen here. So send me an email and then I'll send you my links, my website, my blog, my Facebook name, and then you can access so many materials there. I'm posting them there also on the website. There is audio also about helping devotees succeed, and a handbook. These things that we are discussing are also there. Yeah, so please write me and I send you the links. Okay, so yes, if someone thinks they're a victim, it will be not easy to help them. So we have to help them understand how they're a volunteer and not a victim, and how the things that they experience are not an accident. They are meant for them to learn something, and they are also reactions to their previous activities. None of us is innocent. Now, we have been doing so many sinful activities in our previous lives, so if something happens to us now, it's not an accident. We have deserved it in some way, whether this life or previous life, and so we have to take responsibility for our past deeds. So we have to try to help people understand that they are not the victim, and that they need to take responsibility for their past, present and future. And then this is when the real success begins, when devotee takes full responsibility. Past, present, future. Then they can move on. Otherwise they are usually stuck. If they blame others, they think they're a victim, they're absorbed in self-pity, they're absorbed in criticizing others, blaming others. Very difficult. So this has to be removed in order for them to move on. But thank you for this question. Yes, it's a big topic. Sometimes they call it victimitis virus. victimitis virus. I am a victim. But this doesn't help. We are not victims. There is no injustice in the universe. And according to the Bhagavatam, we get less than we deserve. Tatenu kampam susamikshamano bhunjanaivatma kritam vipakam. Devotee continues offering obeisances to the Lord, suffering the reactions of his activities, and he never thinks he is a victim. He thinks that the Lord, out of his causeless mercy, gives him less than he deserves. And therefore he continues to serve the Lord, and with this wonderful attitude he earns the right to go back to Godhead, as the son of a rich man earns the right to inherit the treasure, the riches of his father. So by this wonderful attitude, humble attitude, and taking responsibility, you actually earn the right to go back to Godhead. It's so powerful. So we need to learn how to apply the scriptures and the Gita, and this Gita coaching is about helping you apply these high principles of Krishna consciousness in our lives. Yes, feeling a victim and low self-esteem are related. They are related. But you see, low self-esteem and feeling a victim can become as like a self-indulgence game, where we become so absorbed in ourselves and in our own, problems and in our own suffering and in our own past, that we just don't have time to think of Krishna or to think of anyone else. We just think of ourselves, and there is some sense gratification in that. I had devotees that I have been coaching. They admit, they say, yes, I find some pleasure in this constant moaning and complaining and blaming. There is some pleasure there. They admit, honestly. So I say, well, if you continue doing this, then you will continue feeling the same as you are feeling, so I can't help you much. But we can respect, we can have self-esteem in a spiritual sense, that I am a spirit soul, I am a servant of Krishna, so I shouldn't go for anything less than the best. Then you can say I have some self-esteem. Self-esteem doesn't mean becoming puffed up, proud, unnecessarily proud and things like that, like people in the material world sometimes do. So if you respect yourself, you will not act against your self-interest. You will do things that are good for you, long-term, short-term. But if you have low self-esteem, then you will always think of yourself, regret, complain, and just be self-absorbed. Be self-absorbed and be self-centered. Yeah, your question is how to explain this to someone who experienced things such as of abuse when they were young children. This is a very difficult situation, and sometimes people who were abused, they cannot hear these, philosophy, high philosophy, and this very, very bold understanding that we are responsible for everything. Well, I'm not an expert on counseling children who were abused, and you might want to contact our Child Protection Office. I believe on Pamho you can find Child Protection Office email, or if you type on Google ISKCON Child Protection Office, I'm sure something will come up. So you can ask them how to counsel children who were abused. But in the beginning there is probably very sensitive dealing and conversation. But later on, I think even those children have to come to the point to understand that whatever happened is not an accident, and that they also have to take responsibility. KD is saying that especially when they are not devotees or they do not believe in karma. Well, you can explain the cause and the effect. the law of cause and effect, the natural laws or the universal laws. You might not want to call it karma, but there is always cause and effect in life. And yeah, if they're not devotees, but nowadays people, even if they're not devotees, they sometimes understand things like last night we were going from Orlando and there is a huge billboard, forgivethem.com. So it's a website about forgiveness and about service, and Mahatma Prabhu is also teaching about forgiveness. So if we were abused, one challenge for us, which comes from God basically, is to forgive. But everything becomes easy if you understand that you are not innocent, that you are not just innocent victim. And this requires a lot of sincerity, soul searching, deeply introspecting and understanding that I have anarthas, I want to be God, I want to enjoy, I have been harming people in my previous lives, and whatever happened to me is not an accident. So we also have to take responsibility for this. I know it's not easy, and especially, a child is very helpless, but these people who are children, they had previous lives, and in their previous lives they were not children, they were something else. So according to, very precise law of nature, you get what you deserve. And I'm not saying that we should allow any kind of abuse. Our duty is to protect children like anything. But if something already happened, we have to understand what happened and why this happened and how this should help us move forward. So this is, to me, this is scriptural wisdom that makes sense out of anything that happened to you. Learn and move forward and basically turn the problem into an opportunity. Someone has joined us, Yamaduta Prabhu, and he's asking who is the speaker. My name is Akrura Das, and I'm doing, I'm doing the Gita coaching, or coaching based on the Bhagavad Gita course here online, or overview of the course, and this is our second session. Today we were discussing about the 10 qualities of a life coach, and next Monday we will discuss about goal setting. First session was introduction, and we had very nice comments from devotees. Yes, thank you, Prabhu. So now it's 9 o'clock, and I want to thank you, all of you, for wonderful questions and very active participation in this program. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next Monday. All the best, and Hare Krishna. Jai Hare Bol.